Good evening. I am Rufus Bill, and welcome to another edition of Talking To. Talking To is a weekly program that deals with human interest stories, funny things, serious things, powerful conversations. And we do it each week here on Facebook Live and YouTube. And we are so glad that you take the time to watch us live, or even to go back later on in your day or in your evening or in your morning or your evening to view the show. We have a great show planned for you today, talking about a lot of things that's going on in the world today. And we're so glad that you are here with us to be able to experience everything that we're going to do on this beautiful day, Sunday, February 16th, 2025, 2 days after the Love Day, Valentine's Day. We're going to encourage you to be part of our chat, or even if you would like to come on live with us, you can do that as well. We can send you the link and you can join in the conversation of what we're going to be talking about today. And without further ado, we'd like to introduce and present to some and introduce to others the fragrance of our show, Joanne Tolson Fuller. Good afternoon, Joanne.
Oh, hey, Craig. How are you, Rufus? I don't know why you make me blush every time you say that. Tongue-tied.
Tongue-tied. All of that good stuff.
Oh.
That is too funny.
How are you?
How was your day today, Joanne?
It was great.
Very good.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I can't complain.
Very good. So, how was your Valentine's Day?
I worked all day long.
Did you?
It was good. But
I worked all
day. Mm-hmm.
You were turning out beauty.
Yes.
At its best.
Hey. Yes. How was yours?
Mine was very good. I didn't do anything. And what did I did have to go to school, so I forgot how big that is with children.
Oh,
oh my God.
Oh, yes.
There were parties.
They wore you out, didn't they?
Yes. And the teachers were passing out all type of candies. And I don't know what time it started, but I think by 11 o'clock, that class that they had then, they were in full sugar effect.
Oh my goodness. Have mercy.
So we're planning, they're planning a Black History program. And so on Fridays, all of the grade levels come together each hour. So there's all the fourth graders, which are roughly about 100. You saw them at the show.
Yes.
There are about 100 students in each from K through 4. And so I had 100 second graders who were amped on sugar.
Ooh.
Do I even need to finish?
I'm sorry. I wasn't even there. I'm sorry.
Yes. And at one point I said, "Man, you all know the rules of this class. You're supposed to come in, sit down, be quiet until further instructions." Right over their heads. They were like, "You may not be celebrating today,
but we are. And they don't even know what love is.
They don't even know what love is.
Because all that candy.
Those cupcakes. They had Doritos. Some classes did pizza. Some teachers did full course meals. And they were really excited. The kindergartners, I think I was mostly moved by them because, they're so small.
Innocent.
And I think maybe 6 of them gave me candy.
Oh, here, Mr. Bill.
Yes, that's what they said. I said, for me.
For you, Mr. Bill.
Oh man, so maybe that was the highlight of my Valentine's Day. Now that I think about it.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
You gonna leave that one alone? Oh man.
I'm not
But
gonna put my foot in my
you're
mouth
not
like
you're not
you
gonna do it
do
today.
sometimes.
You leave that to me. that's my job,
Yeah.
Joanne. Put my foot in my mouth. But I was talking to a chef today, and I was asking him, was the rush over for him at? He works at one of the restaurants in MGM, the fine dining 5-star restaurant, and he said all day Friday when the restaurant opened, all day Saturday was booked, all day Friday booked, Saturday booked, and today it was booked.
Wow.
He said they just didn't have enough staff to accommodate, He said because it really would have been hard. They had all the staff, working, but they could not get any more staff, through a private agency. He said because we didn't have room in the restaurant
Oh
to
my
maneuver
goodness.
that amount of people.
Wow. But
But
that's kind of nice to know that people are celebrating and people are acknowledging, whether it's good friendships, whether it's love, whether it's, all of that people are acknowledging all of that and people are getting back together.
yes, it
That's
is.
nice though.
It
That's
is
nice to hear.
nice.
It's nice.
And I saw something I had never seen or never heard. I don't know if you had on Facebook where Galentine's. Did you hear of that?
Yes. This is the first year I've heard of that though.
My first year too.
I've never heard of it before.
And I don't know where did
I
it
gotta look it up.
originate, but of a lot of
I really don't know. That's interesting.
that is, but
That's
a lot of
interesting.
people. I saw a lot of posts from a lot of people, so the word caught on very well.
Yes.
Yes,
And it's about friendships, right? I think
right.
Valentine's is just about friendships
Yes, it
and
is.
celebrating friendships, if I remember right.
You're right.
So yeah, but I don't know who started it, why, whatever. But that's nice too.
It is very
Everybody does
nice.
not have a love interest.
Exactly.
But you can be celebrated too.
How about that? I today after church I went to the store because I wanted to make grilled cheese sandwiches. And of course I was hungry when I went to the store. And and we all know, do not go to the grocery store when you're hungry.
Eat something before you go.
You would think I would remember
Everything
that.
looks good.
And the bad thing about it, I was thinking about that all during church, my grilled cheese sandwiches. So I went to the store and bought 6 or 7 variety of cheeses. Why? I have no idea because I don't even eat cheese like that.
Look, that's a gourmet cheese grilled
right.
cheese.
Gouda, Munster, cheddar. What was the other white cheese? Not Swiss, but anyway, it was a variety of them.
Wow!
And so I purchased that and purchased some very good marble rye bread. And then I said I'm gonna stop at the cupcake factory where I was in Ferndale. I said and get a couple cupcakes. Well, as I was leaving the cupcake and I reached into my coat to put on my gloves, I only saw one glove. I only had one glove. And I said, oh, it must be in the car. So when I got in the car, I rummaged around to look and see, and it was not there.
Don't you hate that? Ugh.
I said, I am not going down without a fight.
Not today.
I'm not going on without a fight. So, and I had stopped at CVS as well. So that was my first stop that I went back because all of those stores are pretty much in the same vicinity.
Okay.
And so I should say that was on my list to go to. And so I went back to the grocery store first. And I walked around where I had previously parked and looked on the ground, no glove. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking about CVS. And I'm thinking, where could I have left that, at the counter or somewhere? I said, I'll deal with that when I get there. Walked into the store, walked back around to the deli where I purchased the cheese, no glove. walked around the cheese little center area, no glove.
Mm-hmm.
And just something told me to go back around, and I did. And I went toward the opening of how you get behind the counter for the employees.
Mm-hmm.
And someone had found it, or the lady found it, and she just stuck it up on a cart. And when I
Oh,
saw it, I was like, thank
thank
you.
you.
She said, I knew it. I didn't know who it belonged to. She said, but when I touched it, it was so soft. I said,
Uh-oh.
somebody's going to come back here looking for that glove.
Uh-oh.
And
Uh-oh.
I did. And so I was victorious.
All right now. Hey, that makes it a good day.
Yes, it does. And I was
Mm-hmm.
just thinking while I was researching for my glove, I'm thinking I have 3 pair of gloves in my glove bag that's only one, and I don't know where the others are. And that's why I really don't like to wear gloves. And I'm thinking maybe it might be in one of these coats, and I just haven't taken the time to do it. I said, but I'm determined not to lose this last pair that I have. I said
Mm-mm.
I'm going to have to revert to those little clips
Isn't that
on your
hey,
sleeve.
maybe we need
Like,
to make some fancy ones for adults.
yes, they need
Some really
to.
sharp ones. I'm telling you.
Man,
But gloves are like socks.
they
It's
are.
like how you're in the house. You're in the how
Where
yeah.
did the sock go?
Mm.
And
But
I'm a
yeah,
bit.
I have those one gloves, and it's like, and why don't I get rid of them? I don't know. I
See,
don't know. I think I'm hoping that it's gonna
it'll
reappear
pop up somewhere.
somehow.
Yeah.
It's gonna reappear.
But you know what, Joanne? Probably if you got rid of it, that other one would
Go,
appear.
thank you. And that's what I think I'm afraid of. I would throw them away, and it's like, oh man.
I gotta hold on to it. That's funny.
Mm-mm.
The time is 7:16, and we're coming to you live from the city of Detroit. And you can always like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends about talking to, or send them the link to them, because it's a great show. It's very interesting. Today, Justin is not with us. I forgot to say that, but he'll be back next week. He's out doing on the call of duty on his law enforcement.
Yes, taking care of us, watching out for us.
Taking care of the big city, and we greatly appreciate that. We continue to celebrate Black excellence with Black facts and maybe Black trivia. And have you got any feedback, or has from others, or like people that you come into contact with? Are they expressing anything about this Black history and what has tried to occur with not acknowledging the significance of Black history?
You know what? People have been talking, clients have been talking, but the feedback that I'm getting is we pushing forward.
Mhm.
We doing what we doing what we do. We're not gonna let them phase us. And I'm like, okay. And even what I've seen and heard, like on TV and
Yes.
different things, radio, people are like, okay, that's what you think, So
Right.
it's that mindset of, no.
No.
You can do what you could
You
try
can
to
say
do what
what
you
you
want to
want.
do, and even if you take it off the calendar, guess what? We celebrate
We're still going to
because
celebrate.
I celebrate 24/7,
How about that?
365. You know what I'm
Every
saying?
day.
Hey, because I'm not Black just in February.
Right. All year.
So all year.
All day, all night.
Hey.
Every day.
But that seems to be the mindset of most people that I've either talked to or just heard talking. Yes.
That's the same with me. I was talking to some other faculty members, and they were talking about, the attempt to disregard Black history. And, they're fired up, and they refuse to let that become a reality personally and culturally.
Right.
And I'm glad to see that spark is
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Because, we lose interest in things so quickly, and not just because we decide to, but just because of the times we live in, the technology age.
Yes. Yeah.
Our interests are in other places. And so we
Yes.
just kind of just skirt tail over something that is very meaningful. And
And mhm.
what were we going to say?
And no, what's sad is that we need to get back to the storytelling. We
Yes, we
need to
do.
get back to, if they're not going to teach it in school, then we have a responsibility as parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, cousins, sisters, brothers, somebody. We have the
We
responsibility
do
to share it,
to share
because
it,
I mean, they say, I mean, it's an old saying, but how true. How, if you don't know your history, you tend to repeat it,
to repeat it.
good, bad, and ugly.
Yes, it is.
And for people who don't know, so if you're, I'm gonna say 35 and under, a lot of times you don't know those
No,
stories.
you don't.
And so you think, oh, that's just. And then you
Hmm.
see what's going on now. And it's like, because this right, what's going on, is history repeating itself.
It's repeating
And if you
itself.
don't like history, but you need to know this is history repeating itself. Now, is it going to go like it went last time? I don't think so, because we're dealing with a different group of
Mindset.
people.
Hmm.
But if you don't pay attention, you're going to get caught up and
Hmm.
wrapped up before you even know it.
Before you know
And
it.
then you're going to realize, then you're going to wake up one day, how did this happen?
How did it
What's going
happen?
on? Or how come you didn't tell me? You know what I'm saying? So it's that whole, no, you didn't pay attention.
You didn't pay
As
attention.
an adult, you didn't pay attention. And I know everybody now is living their life, like you said, everybody's living their life, doing things, working, schooling, parenting,
Hmm.
whatever. But you still got to pay attention. You have to pay attention.
Yes, you
You
do.
have to pay attention. And if you don't understand something, you better go read about it.
You better.
Because you know the old saying also, if you want a black person, if you don't want a black person to know something, put it in a book.
Put it in a book.
Because we a lot of us, and thank God that a lot of us have changed, but a lot of us don't like to read. We don't like to do that research.
No.
We want to be spoon fed, but we don't like to go
To
after
look
it for
through it
ourselves.
ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
some of us are mighty afraid, don't even know how to begin to do a
Right.
simple research,
That's true.
you
That is
know?
so true. With all the technology we have in the palm of our hand, our
Hmm.
phone every
Yes,
day. That's technology that you don't have to go to the library and go through the Dewey Decimal System trying to find this, and
exactly.
encyclopedias and all that kind of
Right
stuff.
here.
You have it right in the palm of your
Right
hand,
here.
and we still don't use it, but for game playing and TikTok.
That's it. I, s- I saw
I'm
somebody
sorry.
I saw somebody yesterday in the cold outside on their steps. And I said, what are they doing? And as I approached the house, they were doing a TikTok dance. I could see their phone on the steps. I said, really? Apparently, the parents must have put them out because they, got
Go
tired of them
outside
doing.
with that
Go
mess.
outside with that. But they were out there doing it. The parents of a dear friend of mine, they were from Muskegon Heights,
Mm.
and they belonged to the mosque, to the Nation of Islam. And
Mm-hmm.
this was years ago. And whatever the message that, and this was under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, whatever that message was, it was so strong during that time that after my friend's parents left, they still had the fight and the drive
Mm.
and to promote black and to
Mm.
stand up for just for blackness. And I remember
Wow.
the father, he became ill and he needed a kidney. Now this was probably back in the late mid 70s when he
Mm-hmm.
needed a kidney, and they were still living in Muskegon Heights at the time, and the doctors were very dismal about it and saying, "Oh, you're
Mm.
gonna die, and you won't get a kidney, and it is hard to get a kidney." And what the mother did, she took it upon herself, and she went on this huge campaign to get a kidney for her husband.
Mm-hmm.
And the local media there picked up the story, and they heard her story, and it was a drive to find a kidney for this guy, and they found one. They found one. They found a donor, and the doctors were so shocked, and they were curious. How did you do it? And even then, there were waiting lists. But I think the problem then, they weren't going in the order of the list. They were hand selecting those that they wanted off the list, from the
Wow.
list,
Mm.
and they were amazed. And and they had the transplant, and he never had any problems with that kidney. But I'm saying all that to say, just the perseverance,
Self-determination. Yes.
determination
Perseverance. Self-determination. Yes.
to do.
Yes. Yes.
And whenever I would come in contact with both of them, and with either of them, they always had a story. Like you said, storytelling, a story. And I remember once when his mother became ill, and my friend and I went to Muskegon Heights to visit her because it's
Wow.
her grandmother. And
Uh-huh.
so they were talking about how ill she was, and she wasn't mobile. And so we got to the house, Joanne, and I was sitting in the sofa, and they had converted that sun porch into her bedroom.
Mm.
That woman had got out of bed, combed her hair, put a beautiful turban on, put on her house dress, and she came out and she introduced herself to me. And she said, and who are you? And who are your people? And where did you come from? And what are you
See?
doing? And she
See?
was giving me the third degree. And I was thinking, we just here to see you. They said you don't stink.
You
But
being
even
honest about
though
it.
she's right, she still was from that era of how to
Yes.
greet people, how to be cordial, how not to just
Mm-hmm.
be looking any old kind of way, introducing yourself. And I was so moved by that. And
And
she,
where did that go?
where did
Ooh,
it go?
mercy, mercy, mercy.
Where did it
Where
go?
did that go? Just
It,
just the simple thing of introducing yourself, or when you walk
introducing
into a
yourself.
room, people speaking to each other when you walk into a room. Hello.
Yes.
It-
That's one
just
thing.
common courtesies.
Common courtesy.
Common
Every
courtesy.
Monday in my classes, I make each kid get up, introduce themselves, give me your full name, your age, your grade, and the school that you attend to, just so they can be in the habit of doing that. And at first it was foreign to them, and
Mm-hmm.
they didn't understand why I was doing it. And I said, because your parents may take you somewhere around their friends, and they say, uh, uh, what school do you go to? I said, you'll be able to converse with them and talk to them
Yes.
and at least fool them just by the
Fake,
introduction,
fake it something.
at
And you know
least
what?
faking it.
My dad taught me that, and I'll never
Really?
forget. Yes, when I was a kid, he used to tell me how you need to be well read and you need to be able to socialize with anybody. Any walk of life. You need to,
Hmm.
if you're dealing with rich folks, you need to be able to walk in and deal with them. You need to be able to walk in and deal with poor folks. You need to be able to deal with folks on the street. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? And and that's what parents, that's what we still should be doing.
exactly.
And it's sad because we don't. He even told me, if you, like, walking down the street, if you catch somebody's eye,
That's
either
right.
say hello or just nod. And I still catch myself doing that. And sometimes it shocks the other person.
Yes.
And it has shocked the other person, where it's like, wow, oh, well, hello to you too. That kind of thing, because they're shocked. Because sometimes I've caught people's eye, and trust me, I catch your eye and they turn.
Yet
They look away because
they look
we
away
don't want no interaction, no nothing.
or
But a
anything.
lot of people, they like that, and I don't know if they yearn for it, or if they, but we don't have those connections
No,
anymore.
we don't.
Even in the car, you kind of, you're not looking at the person in the car, but sometimes how you looking around and and
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to say anything. Sometimes
Just
just
a
a
nod.
nod and a smile, and that's a hello,
Yes, it
and they
is.
do it back. And it's like, wow, you'd be surprised. You would get more smiles back and more
You
greetings
would.
back. And I know I do.
You
And,
definitely
and
would.
this doesn't mean you're trying to talk
Or anything
to
of that
somebody,
nature.
trying to be fresh, because I got that from some young people. Oh, you flirting? No, I'm not flirting. We just
You're
being
there.
cordial. So they don't even understand
No.
that, just because you speak to somebody or you talk to somebody that's in line, you got to be flirting. No, you're just being cordial.
Being
And
cordial.
so just being cordial, and they don't understand that. So
Not
I
at
like
all.
what you're doing. I like that. That's something.
The
Hmm.
other day I heard my neighbor with a snowblower, and he was blowing snow. And then I was thinking it was the neighbor two doors down, and he usually comes down and he goes next door to Mr. Phillip, and he does his snow, and he might do a path in front of me. And then when the other neighbor to my left was living there, he would do her snow.
Hmm.
Well, when I was listening to the snowblower, I said, that doesn't sound like his.
Mm.
Anyway, so when I got ready to leave yesterday, I saw my next door neighbor, Justin. His name is Justin as well. And I saw him, I said, Justin. And he stuck his head from around the driveway. I said, was that you that did the path in front of my house with the snowblower? He's like, yeah. I said, oh man, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I said, man, I really appreciate it. And Justin is younger,
Hmm.
and he was like, it was nothing. But I kept going on about it. He
Hmm.
was like, Rufus, he's like, it's all right. It's like,
But it's just showing your
my
appreciation. That's
appreciation.
all. That's all. That's all. And that's what, and we need more of that. So he probably is not used to that. So he's like,
He,
why are you making a big
why are
deal?
you
Don't
making a big
nobody else
fuss
make a
about
big deal
this?
of it.
Right.
Because sometimes you do stuff with people 2, 3, 4 times, and now all of a sudden you're supposed to do it.
Right.
Don't miss
Don't
one
miss
time,
it.
because how come you didn't do it this time? So
Yes.
it's just the mindset of
It's the
just, I don't know.
mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, I'm going to put some gas money in the gas, in your mailbox. He said, Rufus, I just made a pass. But
What
I
a blessing.
appreciated that.
Yes,
I
what a
really did.
blessing.
I really did.
Mm-hmm.
So all month long, we have been doing some Black trivia, Black facts, and we're going to continue
Mm-hmm.
that today before we get into any more meat of our show. What do you have for us today?
Ooh, I have a few, but I'm gonna do
Okay.
one right now.
Mhm.
So, have you heard of the man called Henry Box Brown?
No.
No?
Henry
Okay.
Box Brown?
Henry Box Brown.
I think I know who that is.
I
I
bet you
think I
do.
do.
I bet you do. So he was a slave
Hmm.
in Virginia in 1815, and he wanted to be free,
Okay.
but he could not run away. I guess he was too scared to run away or whatever. So what he did, this is ingenious to me. That's why they
Hmm.
call him Henry Box Brown.
Okay.
He literally packed himself up in a box and
That's who I thought that
shipped
was.
himself to Philadelphia
No,
to
no,
be so that he could be free.
no,
Now,
what?
if we black folks are not smart, I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Yes.
So that's why they call him Henry Box Brown, because he literally. So can you just? And that box was got to be heavy. So
Heavy.
what did they think they was shipping?
I,
Did they think the slave owner was shipping something? But however, whatever,
however,
Mr. Henry ended up
was
in
en route.
Philadelphia a free man, and that was back in 1815.
Now let's dissect that for a minute. I guess he would have probably packed, I'm sure, lunch,
Had to be
maybe,
some food or something in
maybe
there.
fruit, or maybe
Because back then it
water.
would take days. We didn't have the planes and the trucks.
Exactly.
So
Hay,
something.
probably hay, maybe a blanket, to cushion
something had to cushion. Who
that
knows?
all
Man, and then the steak crunched up like that though
like that.
for days. Wow. Can
What?
you imagine
No,
that he wanted to be free so
so
bad?
bad and live a
But how
complete different.
ingenious of him.
That
How
is
ingenious.
ingenious. It is. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I would love to know about his descendants.
Yes. Yes.
I've never heard anyone interview them or anything, but that would be
That
interesting.
would be so interesting. Mm-hmm.
So I just found out
Mm-hmm.
that the state of Alabama, it was the first state in the country to legalize interracial marriage
Really?
in 2000.
Oh, what? Well, you know what? Well, okay. Because you know what? It's still on a lot of states' books, I've heard,
of
especially
it
in the
of it
South,
being
that it's
illegal.
illegal for interracial marriage. But they just don't, you know how some laws are still on the books that they've been on books
Right.
for
They just don't
a
honor it.
thousand years and
Hmm.
right. So, but they actually changed that law in 2000.
That's only
Wow.
25 years ago. I,
Wow.
I,
Wow.
Joanne, when I first saw
Wow.
it, I did this. I said, let me look again. I had to put my glasses on to make sure.
And put my glasses on.
I said, is that a two? I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
I could not
But I
believe
think
it.
we would be surprised some of the laws that are still on the books.
I knew we would.
I think we would be so
I,
surprised.
I know we would.
Oh my goodness.
Give us another one.
So you heard about Bruce's Beach, right?
Now that I don't recall.
Bruce's Beach is in Manhattan Beach. Actually it's like a resort area in Manhattan Beach in Los Angeles County, California.
Okay.
So about 100 years ago, it was a black family that actually owned the land, and the land was taken away from them from some white folks
Hmm.
because I guess it was a beautiful part of the area, beautiful a beach area, and all of that. And you know how some of them
We
do.
already know.
We know. So they actually stole the land from them, but the descendants of the Bruce family started fighting. I guess somebody in the family did some research,
Okay.
and a they started fighting for the land back. And in 2022, they finally got their land back after
Wow.
100 years.
A
And I
century?
remember seeing it on TV. I remember
Did
seeing it
you?
because they did like a little history, a little synopsis of the whole and how the land got taken away from them,
Hmm.
and how I guess the family, and this is why storytelling is so important, because the family was passing down the story.
Isn't that something?
They kept passing down the story. And so somebody in the family was like, okay, let's research this.
Hmm.
Come to find out, their family did own the land, and it was stolen from them. It was taken from them. They didn't sell it. They didn't give it away. It was taken.
It was
And
taken.
in July of 22, they actually got their land back. So now it's called Bruce's Beach. Yes.
I can imagine from over 100 years how
Mm-hmm.
that area was probably built
Oh,
with
and it's beautiful.
homes.
Ooh, it's beautiful.
Is
From
it
what I remember seeing on TV, because they're showing it now.
right?
And those folks built that up and
Built
built
that
these
up.
homes and all that kind of stuff. Yes. So
Very
that I just thought
interesting.
that's perseverance, and that's determination.
Yes, it
That's
is.
where storytelling comes in. That's where you wanted to know your past, your
Yes.
history. And
Hmm.
guess what? Because you wanted to know and you wanted to do something about it, you got your family's land back that was
Back.
stolen from them. And
How
the
phenomenal.
lawyers that they hired actually did it when they, I guess, saw some of the research that the family had already done, they
Okay.
actually did it pro bono.
Did they?
Yes, they did. Yes, they
Wow.
did. Isn't that something?
Yeah, congratulations to that family.
So it was the family, the people who owned it was Charles and Willa Bruce. So that's an old name,
You
Willa.
know that is Ella.
Yeah, I know some Willa, Willa Mays, Willa
Yeah.
Jeans, Willa.
Ooh wee. You already know.
Charles and Willa Bruce.
How about that? That's good. That's good.
Yeah, so I thought that was a good story, especially for a modern story, even though it's
Yes, it
history, but
is.
still is today now. Yeah.
And you know what's very interesting? When I was in school, when I was in college, and I was taking those business courses, and do you know the premise, the underlying premise of all those courses that I was taking in business was to take acquisitions,
I believe they
taking,
yes,
and
because that's what they do.
that's what they do.
Look at what they're trying to do now. Look at
Yes,
they trying to take
take.
the Gaza Strip, take Panama. They trying to take,
Just
not buying, not
no,
they're
not
literally
giving.
no, they're literally saying we're gonna take.
Take.
That's their mindset.
That's the mindset.
It's so sad. It is so sad.
And there are certain formulas that are used in business to do this.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
When I had to do a paper, and I can't remember exactly what the business was, but the president of that company was using this formula. And one of the things that it did in this formula, how you have to go in one of the process of the formula, where you had to go and check certain things in these other businesses to see if they measured up to certain levels.
Mm-hmm.
Then if they didn't measure up, you check that off, you go down, check that off, and then you put the formula in, and then you present it and say, well, they were buying the business per se, but they were targeting to take.
Yes.
And buying businesses way below value.
Way below. Just cheating people out of. And what's that other law? I was trying to look for it, but that other law where, say, like if the government needs your land, especially when they were building railroads and highways and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
What's that law? If they need your land and you don't sell it, for the price they want to give it to you, then they can take it.
Yes. And you get nothing. Is that not crazy?
So you're gonna cheat me anyway.
Anyway.
But if I say no, you're just gonna take
it.
Take it. And that's a law. It's
It is.
So if somebody's out there listening, you know what that law is, please tell us.
Please put that in the chats.
Yes. But I'm like, wow. Unreal. That just brought, when you said it, that just brought that back to my mind. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, wow.
So my other fact is Jerry Blocker, who was an African American broadcaster, is the first Black person to go on WJBK here in Detroit as a news anchor. Yes.
Wow. And when was that?
Now, I knew you were going to ask that. And as I was saying it, I said, you didn't write the year down. I believe it was in the late 50s, early 60s. I know if John Arnold is watching this or watch it later, he will let me know. He'll text me, say, Rufus, it's such and such and such. Yes, first one. And it was so funny because I ended up working with him at WQBH Radio. And I didn't know anything about that particular history. And Mr. Blocker was a very reserved man, and he probably at that time was in his mid to late 70s. But he was very refined, and he had a voice like this. And he would come into the station to do very special things different campaigns we were working on. And in fact, he did something that it was a featured program called It's the Music, where we highlighted black artists from way back to the current at that time.
Okay.
And so he was storytelling one day because I was a newscaster, and I was getting my news from AP, putting my stories together. And he said, "Let me see your story." And I handed the paper and it was printed. He got his pen and he did circles and he did this and he made the broadcasting marks. And I'm looking at, who is this man doing this to my paper? And my newscast is in about 15 minutes. And so he told me, okay, go back and rearrange this. Still, I'm not knowing his history. I didn't know his history. And he said, and when you say this, say it this way. And when you do this, and I was very receptive because I was young in the business. And I did it, did the broadcast, came out, and he begins to tell me about his story, the storytelling, and how he got in the business. And I was like, Mr. Blocker, I didn't know you were the first on television here.
Wow.
And he just said it just like, I went to McDonald's to buy a shake. He said, well, when I was the first black man over there at WJBK, first African American in this whole region to be on radio, be on television, and so we had to work harder. And I was stopped at that.
Yes.
Unbelievable. But yes,
wow.
that's some rich history.
That is rich history. Eminent domain.
Eminent domain. That's
Eminent
it.
domain.
Yes, it
the
is.
government could just take your land.
Take it.
Just
take it.
Take it.
What
but they
world.
say that there are certain rights that you have. But yeah, okay.
So the time is 7:46 p.m. This is Standard Eastern Time for wherever you may be viewing us. It's Talking to Joanne Fuller, Rufus Beal, and Justin is not here this evening, but he will join us next week. So this week was very interesting in the Oval Office, Joanne, with the press conference. Why don't you tell us what was going on? And I don't even know what the press conference was really about.
I don't understand. But of course, Trump. Look, I don't even want to say the name, but Trump was there. He was there. But Elon Musk was supposed to be holding the press conference.
Yes.
But who are you?
Who are you?
And that's what people are trying. And thank God, I read something even yesterday that they're trying to, is it Congress? They're trying to like sit him down or shut him down. Let me put it that way. They're trying to shut, because you're not an elected official.
No.
You're not. Oh my goodness. But he's doing this press conference, which I'm with you. I really don't understand what the press conference was for or what it was about. But Trump was just sitting at his desk like
he was the guest.
He had nothing to say. Yes, like he was the guest. And Musk had his son, and people were doing the comparisons of Kennedy when his son was under the desk and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, but when his son was digging in his nose and putting it on the desk, and then he walked over to, and I had to replay this part so many times, because when he walked over to the desk and he was telling Trump, "You're not the president." And you could tell he was getting on Trump's nerves, because every time he would start talking, Trump would turn his head in the opposite direction and look the other way. Go back and look at it. Watch.
Yes.
Every time that little boy started talking, this.
Yes. Unbelievable.
And then he looked forward. And his little boy started talking again. And I'm like, And then they said he was saying how, what did he say? That Trump, you're not the president, and you need to
sit down.
Sit down or get out or something like here. And I'm like, okay, but how are you in the Oval Office doing a press conference, and the person who's supposed to be the president is sitting there like a stump on the log?
And at one point, when the president began to speak, Elon cut him off.
Yes.
And took over.
But you know what? I said it. You said it. Millions of people, I think, have said it. He bought that presidency for a reason.
For a reason.
For a reason. And they said it. Even what's her name? She's drawing a blank now, but she said, look, he thinks he's the president because he put in all that money.
The Congresswoman?
Yes.
Jasmine
Yes.
Crockett, I believe.
Yes. Yes. That, okay. All right, now y'all better pay attention.
Pay attention.
Y'all better pay attention.
And I also read this is the first time in any presidency that someone who is not an elected official or a formal elected official or officially a part of the cabinet has ever been in the Oval Office conducting a press conference.
Yes. Or even how do you allow this person to even get the people's information, personal information, financial information? How because he spent enough money, he feels that this is really my office. You just the
because
face.
Of me.
You just the face of the office.
Mm-hmm.
This is not your office. This is my office. But I'm telling you, I've said it, and I just have this feeling. I'm not wishing no bad, but I just have this feeling they're gonna butt heads because
of course they are.
Trump is too narcissistic.
Yes.
And so they're gonna bump heads, and I can hear Elon Musk saying, "Well, give me my money back."
My money back.
And he can't do it because he don't have no money.
None.
No. Yeah, he's cash poor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can see that happening. And what is that going to be? And that's why I wish Congress and the Senate and all of them would just stand up for what's right.
For what's right.
For what's right.
Just for what's right.
Because the United States can end up being a third world country.
Yes, it can.
And you think you're going to go and dog out and tell these other countries what to do like you thought you was going to tell Mexico what to do? You thought you were going to tell Canada what to do?
No.
Those Hitler days are over.
Uh-huh.
And I think we're dealing with prayerfully, we're dealing with a different mindset of people.
Yes.
Than we were back in slavery time or even in the Holocaust time. Or, I think we're dealing with, because I don't think people are going to put up with some things, but can they mess it up? Because if China calls in their markers, we're done.
It's over.
We're done.
It's over.
China alone, we're done. And so I think if we call in our markers from everybody that owes us, I think China's still outrank.
Because I'm very
them so much.
I would think that China would be the ones to contact the who owe markers or who have markers for us. So you better not.
Thank you.
You better
Thank
not.
You.
And another country, Korea.
Oh. But the Mexican, what did she say? She's letting people know exactly all the things that come from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, okay, you can okay.
You play if you want.
If you want to.
Play if you want. They said because
and I'm glad people are standing up to him because or them, because it's really them.
Yes, it is.
It really is them. It's not just him because he doesn't have
nothing.
He doesn't have the smarts.
No.
To do a lot of stuff. So it's really them and whoever else is pushing those buttons back there. So it's crazy. I just think that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And when I saw that comparison to JFK, I said, but the only thing, JFK was an elected president with his son.
Yes.
Although Trump is an elected official and Elon Musk may have put all that money, is not the elected official.
Yes. Correct.
And you have that unruly child running around the office, have him up on his neck, playing with him. I was done.
That just shows that you think you're in charge.
You think you're in charge.
This is my office, so I can do what I want to do. And then I just heard a report, I think that was Friday, that the mother of the little boy didn't even know he had him at the president's office. I
What?
guess by this mother, he has 3 children.
Okay.
And so she didn't even know that he was there. And from my understanding, I stand to be corrected, but from my understanding, she didn't care about, she didn't like that.
I'm
But,
sure. And it
you know,
really it put her child out there.
out there, out there. Now everybody knows what he looks like. Now
Everyone knows
everybody
what he
knows, you
looks
know
like.
what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Just, and I'm sure they have wonderful security.
I'm
I'm sure they have
sure.
great security. I'm
I'm
sure.
sure.
But
Just the thought.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But that was crazy.
Yes, it
That just
was.
showed you, and for him to just sit there and take it,
Unreal.
man. This supposed to be your office, not his
It's your
office.
office. Yeah,
We
I wish
elected you. Well, some folks elected you. We didn't. The people,
right.
because I mean, and so I mean, now they're coming out with. Well, they've come out with it, but that the machines that were used were Elon Musk company's machines.
I didn't read that.
Yes, and I'm like, okay, so if people don't see, if people didn't see, because I really believe that he did not win.
Yeah.
I
Me,
really
me
believe
too.
that. And I believe that whatever, all that he was accusing others of doing is
You
exactly what
did.
he was doing.
Because usually the one that screams the most is the one that is
Yeah.
guilty.
Yeah. My dad used to say, he who cries the loudest is usually the guiltiest party.
Wise man. So a week ago today, Joanne, you and I we was doing our show while the Super Bowl was going
Have mercy.
on. Unaware,
We were
me
naive.
unaware of
We
the
were
time.
naive. We were naive.
Naive. We were left to our own devices. And of course, for a minute, they were talking about the actual game. But clearly, the star of the show
Yes.
was hip hop artist
Yes.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yes.
And we were gonna talk more in depth about the hip hop culture in today's show. We're gonna have to extend it to next week because we're a little bit almost out of time. But we're just gonna start with him. And when you saw the footage of the halftime show, what did you think about?
I thought it was different.
Okay,
I thought it was because I had to watch it more than once though.
I did too.
I had to.
I did too.
I didn't get it on the first. I
Me
didn't, because
either.
at first I was like, so what's the hoopla?
The
What's the
hoopla.
what? So you had those who were dogging him out. You had and then you had those who were cheering him on. So I'm like, okay, well, what's that? What's that all about? But he was making some political statements.
Yes, he did.
He really, if you listen to what he was saying, and
Yes, he
then when
did.
I saw the uniforms, or
Yeah, the
that they had on,
costumes.
they were red, white, and blue.
Red, white, and blue.
And then just yeah, he
You know,
yeah,
they interviewed his teacher from Compton, and
really,
before he became Kendrick Lamar, he used to be Kendrick something else. I think his last name is Duckworth, and he was going by Kendrick Duck or something.
okay,
And so before all this fame, he was on doing an interview, Kendrick, talking about this teacher. And so the teacher's friends were like, this rapper is talking about you. He said, what is his name? Kendrick Duck. He said, I don't know him. They said, he used to be your student. Well, after he did research, he said, oh, Kendrick Duckworth. He said he was a student that stuttered. And he encouraged him to start writing
Wow.
And that's how he got into writing and doing lyrics and doing poetry is what he told him to start writing. And so
Wow.
he was kind of just guiding him in his writing, and he saw how he had just took off with that. He
Awesome.
said, never in a million years would he think that this young man would be this young man. But one thing that about the performance that I did not catch,
Uh-huh.
and I think the reason why I miss it is because I don't play Xbox,
Okay, I don't
and
either.
how when they cleared the stage, it was the game board, and then there was something on it with the I don't know what it's called, like the controls,
The controllers.
the controllers
Uh-huh.
representing probably an administration or that is controlling people. And it was I think it was a chessboard. And it is so when I'm starting to listen to like Roland Martin and other political pundits that were
Mm-hmm.
breaking it down, I said, this guy is something else.
Yes. Yes.
And the one of the things that really stuck out to me, don't know if you saw the little A he had on,
Mm-hmm.
the letter A, representing A minor. Now he has a CD or a song called A minor,
Okay.
and so when they broke it down and I thought about it, A minor, I said there are no black keys in A minor, all white,
Uh-huh.
and I said, oh. Very interesting.
Mm.
Now, Justin made a post. I don't know if you read it, but he said, well, it's interesting to him how he can have all of this information and he's giving out this knowledge, talking about the culture and how Black people are being treated. And yet he was disregarding um, the other rap artist, Drake.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I think it's an oxymoron, and I don't think we should be doing that. And I was thinking about it. I said, well,
Hmm.
in hip hop and in the rap, that has been almost like an underlying
Always.
concept. East Coast against West Coast,
Right.
talking about another artist, and which I think is fascinating, Joanne, because we're from that era, or we're familiar with that era when that was the thing.
Tupac, Biggie,
Tupac, Biggie,
all
uh,
them.
what's his name? Andre.
All of them.
Uh,
Yeah.
that was with um, Ice Cube, and
Yeah.
and I said, I wonder, has the culture or the faces or the demographics changed from, well, they don't like talking about other Black people, to what was before, because
Mm-hmm.
on a heartbeat you would hear somebody just talking about somebody over here
Mm-hmm.
and wouldn't care, as that was obvious in the in last week's performance.
Mm. But I
And
think part of that is also negative publicity is just as strong as positive publicity.
yes, it is.
And I think that's the game. I think
That's
that's
the
part
game.
of the game.
Hmm.
It's part of the game
It is.
that they play. The record labels, the all of that is part of the game.
It's
Because if I
all a
keep
part.
your name out there,
Hmm.
and then now everybody's looking at Drake, and now because the conversation was Drake and with Serena, and
Yes.
Serena out there, doing her thing, but the song was against Drake, and Drake was an ex, and they tried to blow that up.
All
Who gives a hoot? She's married now. She done moved on.
okay.
Who gives a hoot? And so it's like, so I think all of that is, even though people think of it as negative publicity or going to get, it's all part of publicity. It's all part of it. And
Yes.
so it's the game that they play. And we have to realize that's the game that they play.
And I noticed, I saw something. And apparently, Drake was at the Super Bowl, and
Mm-hmm.
and somewhere he went afterwards to party. When
Uh-huh.
the DJ saw him come in, he played that song.
You know what? I'm sure Drake has moved on. Serena definitely has moved on.
Yes.
Everybody, it's
And
like,
Kendrick has moved on.
thank you. It's like, okay, y'all. Okay.
But the influence that
Yes,
hip hop has
yes,
made into the culture, to the Black fabric, and to the
yes.
culture now, I just did not, and I didn't realize, I did research today, that this form began in the 70s. It wasn't as prevalent because of whatever reason, but
Mm-hmm.
it was formed to talk about the ills of society.
Yes, yes.
Now, I really didn't get exposed to what the true meaning of it was until like Tupac, but
Mm-hmm.
at first. But when I was reading, I said, well, Queen Latifah always had a message. Run DMC had a message. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and the list goes on. And I think a lot of times, Joanne, if we don't live that type of life
Right.
where where the police are bothering, well, we know that happens, but if we have not experienced it ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I know we all may have experienced a family member or somebody that we know getting caught up in drugs, but if it's just not right really in our face, and we're coming home like Tupac's mother, he could see her getting high, going out trying to
Right.
get her drugs,
Those
we
lives.
just have a different effect. It has a
Yes.
different effect on us,
Yes.
but it's a for real thing with people.
And even though, most of us, like you said, we weren't around, we weren't into it, we weren't because we weren't affected, but we also have to understand that that's the life that they lived.
Yes, it
Like, and
is.
that's basically what you were just saying. That's the life that they lived, and that's how they coped with the life that
With
they
the life
lived,
they lived.
and that's how a lot of them got out of that life.
That
A lot
life.
of them dealt with that life by talking about that life, by
hmm
sharing that life,
hmm
by, ooh, yeah,
That whole
that
thing.
whole, but, it's sad for those who got out but still kept that.
Mentality.
Yeah,
hmm
yeah, yeah.
Because I would think once I got out,
You don't
I
want to go back. Yeah, you
and
know.
who did it best was
So they
Diana
want to call it
Ross.
what, the thug or the whatever.
Yes,
Yeah. Hey,
because
get me
Diana
out. I'm
said,
out.
"I'm out." She said, "When
Peace.
I got out those Brewsters," she said, "Don't even remind me about it."
Hey,
She's
I'm
don't
out.
bring it up
I
in an
want a whole new
interview.
different lifestyle.
I'm
Right.
holding a different life,
Right.
and I can respect that,
Yes. And
because
that's okay.
you can't forget it
No.
because it's still a part of you, but
Mm-hmm.
the acknowledgement consistently does not have to be done, and
And
that's
that's where
go
you do
ahead.
the storytelling
That's where
to
you do the
tell your
storytelling.
children why, yeah, this is where I came from,
hmm
because you don't want them going back
Going back that way.
that way either. And so you
Yes,
tell your children, your grandchildren, yeah, this is where I came from, but guess what? We moved from there. We
here we
trying to
are,
live a different life, a
a
better
different
life.
life.
So yeah, so that's where the storytelling comes in.
That's the word storytelling. It definitely is. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I had shared something with her that I had experienced years ago, and she said, "I never knew that." I said, "Well,
Mm-hmm.
it was really nothing for me to talk about. It wasn't something that I was just going to just discuss because it was just a different part of my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I just went on from it. And
Mm-hmm.
you've dealt with it, and then you just
Because
go
you
and
don't wear
move.
it on your sleeve.
Right.
Like you
hmm
don't wear your feelings, you don't wear it on your sleeve. But if a situation came up, like probably that
And
situation
that's what
that you
happened.
needed to talk or needed to
Yep. A
say it,
situation.
and
Yes.
that's okay. But you don't wear it on your sleeve so everybody can know, or everybody need, because everybody don't need to know. Everybody
Everyone
don't.
doesn't
But
need
there
to
are
know
points in time where you have to tell that story.
tell that
Tell
story.
that story.
You know,
Yeah.
tell that story.
hmm
Joanne, another great show.
Yes,
Another
yes,
great show.
yes. I look forward to Sundays.
I know, I do too. I really do too. What do you have planned for this week?
Oh, work. And I'm trying to. get on my regimen of being in the gym. I'm trying to do 3 days a week.
Okay.
3 days. I did today.
Congratulations.
I did my exercising today. We have a excuse me, we're starting an exercise program at church.
Really?
Yep. So next Sunday at 2:30. And it's only for an hour.
Okay.
But she worked us today.
Did she?
She worked us today. So I got one day in. So I'm trying. So my goal is at least 3 days a week, at least.
At
I
least.
do more. But so that's my goal for this week, is to get my other 2 days in.
Perfect. I love it. This is funny too. Speaking about exercising, something fell on the floor. I guess about Monday or Tuesday, and I was at school, and I bent to pick it up, and I heard that noise. I said, "Who was in here grunting? Who was that?" I said, "Oh no!" I said, "Let me get that regimen," because doing the squats and bending, I kind of got away from it, and I hadn't heard it. In fact, I had never heard it until this day, and it just came out so naturally. I said, have I did that in front of somebody? I said, I'm not going out like that.
No.
If I got to bite my lip, if I feel it coming out. But I just started my squats again. So I feel you. And, we're joking and we're laughing, but that mobility is very important.
Yes.
That
Very
exercising, and you really have to make it a lifestyle.
A lifestyle. It has to be a part of your regimen.
Yes, it does.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
So we both gonna be working on that this week.
Awesome.
For sure. Well, Joanne, you have a great evening.
You too.
I will. And we look forward to seeing everybody next week, 7:00 p.m. YouTube and Facebook Live, right here for Talking To. Everybody have a great evening.
Yes. Peace.
Peace.